Howdy, y'all. Axe with Oaf Pogo. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the technique called setting the circle. Setting the circle makes it a whole lot easier to hit great and excellent throws. This is especially useful on legendaries because, of course, if you hit a great or an excellent throw, you have a higher chance of catching the guy. So, for raids and things like that, setting the circle can be a very useful technique. The first step in the set the circle technique is to set the circle size. One of the things that you may have noticed before is that when you hold down your finger on the Pokeball. The Pokeball or the circle, the basically the hitbox, has an internal circle that gets smaller, and then once it gets to nothing, it expands back out to the full hitbox size. So we'll go ahead and let this play and show that the circle size is changing as I hold down my finger on the ball. So each mon has a different hitbox size for great, and then as it gets smaller for excellent throws. One of the things to notice about this as I let this video play again is that the size doesn't change when this mon is in his attack animation. So as soon as he starts his attack, when he goes to start to punch, the circle size doesn't change. And then when he gets out of his attack animation, the circle just picks up from where it left off and starts getting smaller again. So I'll go ahead and let this play. There's the attack animation, and it picks back up right where it left off. So the first step in this technique, I'll let that play again so you can see it, is to hold down the ball until the circle gets to the size that you want it. And you can start the practice by working on getting great throws. So that's going to be, usually it's about 2/3 of the size of the full circle is around where the great will be. And then a third, or sometimes a little bit smaller, will be your excellent circle size. So I'll go ahead and, so the next step in this process is to wait. Just wait for him to attack. As we saw, we're going to use that dynamic where the circle size doesn't change when he's in his attack animation to make it where we can predict where that circle is going to be every single time. So the tricky part is to start your throw after he started his attack animation and end your throw. So actually let go of the ball before he finishes his attack animation. And it's a little tricky. I have a real short throwing motion. It's basically a 6 that I start from the middle. So I have a very short throwing motion. For this technique, it's useful to practice that kind of shorter throwing motion so that you can start your spin and get out of the spin and throw the ball before the attack animation happens. So if you time it right, the ball will hit the mon right when he comes out of his attack animation so that he doesn't have time to jump or go back into another attack animation or move side to side or whatever that particular Pokemon does. So again, I'm going to start the throw after the attack animation begins. I'm going to let go of the ball before the animation finishes. And then you want to try to time it. It takes a little bit of work to figure out the timing for some of these mon. But you time it so that the ball hits right as the attack ends. So again, I'm going to go ahead and let the circle set. I've got the circle set here. Wait for him to attack. And then he goes into his attack. I start my throw motion and let go of it before he's out. And that keeps the circle right exactly where it is. So at that point, all I have to worry about is hitting him right in the middle of the Pokemon, which, is the easiest part of that whole thing, rather than having to spin to wait for the circle to get small and then hope that after you throw, he doesn't go into his attack animation or jump or one of those things. So I'll show another example of this. So I caught him. This is also real useful. I don't know if you noticed, but now the XP bonus for catching him on with an excellent throw is 1,000. So that is a huge amount of XP for a single catch. And so that's really a nice one to get. So I'm going to go ahead and show this on one other Mon. So we'll go ahead and show this off on a Hitmonlee. Again, I hold down, his attack animation went and the circle didn't change. I set the circle where I wanted it. I'm going to wait for him to do that kick like he does. And once he does that kick, eventually, sometimes it does take a little patience on some Mon if they don't want to attack. It's a much more consistent thing on Shadowmon because they tend to attack a lot. So that one you see that I actually threw a little bit too early. It bounced off of him because he wasn't completely out of his attack animation. Obviously, it doesn't always work. There we go. I'm using my raspberry because I really do want to catch it because I want that XP. I'm still working towards 50. He goes into his attack animation, and this is something that I didn't mention here before, but you notice that I didn't reset the circle after I threw that first ball and it bounced off of his face. That's one of the cool things about the set the circle trick is that you don't have to reset the circle every single time. Once that circle is set, as long as you don't do a quick catch or run away from him or something like that, that circle size is going to stay the same throw after throw after throw after throw, which is really useful. You can go in and get that circle size set the way that you want once. And then from then on out, it's just going to stay there until you finish your catch sequence. So again, that's the set the circle technique. It takes a little practice, but it's really not one of the more difficult techniques in Pogo. It's really quite easy to do. If you have any questions or want me to show anything in particular off, please go ahead and comment. Let me know. I'd love to help y'all in any way that I can. And y'all have a great day. Good luck catching.